It's time for the Killjoys after show here on AfterBuzz TV. We are talking season 3, episode 7, The Wolf You Feed. We have a special guest Skyping in. Stick around.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hello and welcome to the Killjoys after show here on AfterBuzz TV. If you haven't already, go to youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV. Hit subscribe. We're also on iTunes and SoundCloud. I have two co-hosts who are losing their minds over here.
My mind is blown here, Yael.
Okay, I'm Yael Tygiel. That's Zach Wilson.
Hey, yes, you can find. I'm Zach Wilson. I got Yael to snort. Yes, this podcast is kicking off exactly how I wanted it to. I'm Zach Wilson. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, all over the web at that Zach Wilson.
Hi. I just got off guard. I got Yael to snort.
I did.
That'll be a soundbite. Guys, you can find me on Twitter at Stefan.
Stefan?
Yeah, Stephen Lemieux, STPHEN-LEMIUX. Good episode.
Stefan, Yael.
Stop.
Zake.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that bothers me.
Yael. Because in everyday life, people mispronounce your name that way.
Yes.
That's why.
Yeah,
Because it's not like a gimmick. It's like a straight up.
This is not
trigger.
how you say my name.
Yael's just there twitching every
Yeah.
time you say it.
So so much happened in this episode. So many things were revealed, and we will get to that. But we are trying to get our guest to join us. For those who don't know, we have Tamsen McDonough joining us, who is the voice of Lucy, and she will be joining us shortly. But what was the most mind-blowing moment of the episode?
You mean other than that Dutch is
Yes.
I'm trying to think of the right way to say this.
Figment of imagination.
Yeah, like she was brought into this world by Aniela's just wanting it really, really hard.
Okay.
She was wished into being.
Yes.
Yeah, she's like a Disney princess, but she's some combination of a Disney princess and the experiment from Weird Science, but in space.
I actually wasn't really that surprised by any of the stuff with Aniela's storyline. Is that bad?
Yeah.
I wasn't. Well, here's the thing.
It's not.
I understand what you're saying, though.
It's not that I don't think it's good, because I think it's good. I'm saying out of all of the theories I've just thrown out there, it just kind of has already been in kind of my mind that's kind of what's going on.
So wait, so you're upset because you thought it was one thing and they tricked you and surprised you with something else?
No, I'm saying I'm upset because I wasn't that surprised because it's pretty close to what I thought.
I don't know. This worked for me in just the right amount, because it didn't shock me it came out of nowhere. It as weird as it is, and how batshit, because I tried to explain it to somebody afterwards who doesn't watch the show, and it sounds insane, but in the context of the show and in line with everything that we've known, it works, and that's why I like it. It's insane, but somehow works.
I was more surprised with how they played with Aniela and Klein's relationship in the episode, as opposed to how we find out where Yala came from. I liked that, and I was way more surprised with Turin's decision this episode than anything else, because I thought after last episode he would have changed his beliefs in a way, and it feels like he just went double down on him. That's where I was really the most surprised with where the storyline's moving
Turin's
for.
a dick.
Turin, this episode we will get to. Let's talk about that now while we are dealing with Skype issues. I believe Tamsin's having some Skype troubles. So let's talk about Davin and him trying to launch his army. This gathering of everyone, when they do this test flight and we discover a little bit more about the ships.
Oh, those poor little red shirts.
I know, man. Johnny must have been in love with one of them or something.
You know what bummed me out is the episode started and I went, she is so cute. And then they killed her, and I was I was really excited to get to know this character.
The instant there were flight patterns back and forth like that, I was oh, they're dead. They're so dead.
For some reason in my mind I was deja vu, I think I've been in this place for... Have you guys seen that meme?
No.
Oh my god, it's really poor taste right now, but
Great.
just them like flying into each other.
Anyway.
I thought it was gonna cut away and they were like in training chairs or something. I didn't think they were really in the ships until like it cut to the next scene and it's like we lost 2 pilots. I'm like, oh damn, okay. I thought they were pulling us for a loop and it was gonna cut away and they're like taking off these helmets. Like, damn it!
No, although like I feel like they should have like been able to, when they figured out what the problem was and they weren't like right next to each other. Like your ship will do the opposite of like what the other one does. I'm like, all right, 3-dimensional space flight. If I point down, the other one will go up, and then we can figure it out from there.
I like that you were like, guys, this is so simple.
No, but like they're trained pilots. Like they're working with experimental tech. They needed to be ready for some kind of crazy, weird complication, and I felt like they had enough time to deal with it.
Here's my thing.
Personally, get your shit together, experimental space pilots working with weird DNA-based space computer planes that are slightly organic in nature.
The issue is, because I'm going to cut off Yael and not let her say what she's wanted to say for 30 seconds, is that if you're going to create a neurally linked ship system and an ecosystem for ships to create all these different like formations and stuff, but allow them to break formation, you would have things in place so they don't crash into each other.
Agreed.
That actually is a fair point.
That's a very fair point.
Come on, here's the formation. Suicide.
But I think the point of it was that however the ships are constructed, and in order to function like as they're supposed to in those neat formations, they also need Hullen behind the wheel. Because we've talked about how the Hullen seem to have some sort of hive mind to them. It's not a true hive mind where it's like all the same being, but there is a connection between them.
Obviously, they didn't use up, down, left, right, BA select.
Do you have to look up the Konami code?
I wanted to make sure I was right before I said it. This podcast will be down in posterity, Zach.
Regardless, I think that you needed the connection there in order to work the ships properly.
I think that I'm going to butt in again so y'all can't talk.
Yael!
Yeah?
You have the floor.
Thank you.
But not my army.
Yael Tygiel.
That's
What's
much
up?
better.
Yael Tygiel?
I'll take it. I think my biggest concern was that Johnny was like, no, I figured out how to run this thing. No, clearly you didn't. You put people's life at risk. Johnny was like, I figured this out. And Turin was like, you're an idiot. You got people killed.
To be fair, though, if you find a car that's like in a different language and you have 3 of them, right? And you learn how to drive one of them, it's not that messed up to say, okay, you can drive 2 of them at the same time and they won't just decide to crash into each other.
That's
like,
fair. That's fair.
Come on, like, how could he have known, like, oh, these 2 ships, like, we drove one fine. Hey, let's just assume that they're going to decide to mimic each other.
So the other portion of Davin's war is that they decide Fancy and the Cleanse can probably fly these ships and figure out this
You're
stuff.
skipping many steps.
Yeah. Yes?
Yeah, you're skipping many steps. Fancy's the one that says the Cleanse are the one who can drive the ship.
I'm trying to get to the Fancy storyline.
Okay, but the Fancy storyline is okay, I'm shutting up.
You're being very Turin right now.
I actually wrote a thing and said that Turin's being such a jelko.
Damn.
Turin is being a jelko, actually. Yeah. I can agree with that. Turin's being a jelko.
So, would you like to take us through an episode that people have already seen? Go ahead.
I said I'll shut up. Yeah.
I'm dealing with stuff. All right, so they decide we should ask Fancy because he was Klein's right-hand man. He could probably figure it out. They go to Fancy, and it was all Turin being a jelko. And
setting him up.
Setting him up. So...
Well, like...
Yes.
So Turin's like about face seemingly when he went up to Fancy at the bar a few episodes ago was what?
It was last episode.
A false flag? Was that no? That was a few episodes ago.
No, that was last episode when it's the asshole corner.
Well, that was 2 weeks ago.
I think it was
Either
2
way,
weeks ago.
regardless.
Yeah.
Oh, well, anyway, yeah, it's just it felt
You
like
watched it last week.
Oh, that's what it is. That's what it. Yeah, it just felt way out of left field that he would double down on being a douche.
Yeah.
Like, he already apologized. I thought he was like, He just said, "You're one of the good ones, Fancy." Like, that's the last thing we hear of Turin, and now he's like, "Oh yeah, let's just get all these guys and round them up because we don't know if we're going to trust them again." It's like, I thought the whole point of that episode was that Turin was dealing with somebody psychologically screwing with him, and he overcame it and decided to trust Fancy again. So it just didn't really make sense.
I agree with you, and the way that he said to Fancy when he was trying to apologize in the designated asshole corner, and he was like, "I'm sorry, this is what happened." But again, this week, what happened was he rounded up everyone but Fancy, because Fancy he kind of trusts, kind of.
But that's his like. You're such a Joko turn, because that doesn't make any sense. Because either, like, what his worry about them, it's all or nothing. Either they are all at risk of relapsing, based on what that one Holland said, who was trying to get inside his mind and twist things around. That said, I can actually understand his fear, because this is untested territory. Like, they don't know what's gonna happen. For all we know, there is a way for Holland to just like make it like retreat and then spark up from like a microscopic level.
Remission versus a cure.
That is a legit. I will say that is a legitimate risk working with them. And I liked Davin's like way of dealing with it. It's like, look, there's always a risk with any soldier.
Can I throw a prediction out there that you're not going to like?
Okay.
I think the only reason we got this storyline with Turin is because the cleansed are going to become uncleansed. I think the only reason they went through this is because we're so already on board with the idea that they're cleansed, that if there wasn't any sort of storyline to say, hey, they might go back on us, hey, I'm being a dick right now, but he's bringing these to the viewer. He's bringing this idea and notion that they could betray them to the viewer, no matter how much we dislike it. We wouldn't have even thought of it, really. So now if they betray us later, we're like, oh, now Turin's not so much a dick.
I think they're going to be... I trust them. I trust them. And I think it's just to like make us question our own prejudices.
I just want to...
But we could talk about this all day. I feel like there's something more important.
I feel like there's something a little bit more important.
What is that?
We have on the line a familiar face. Oh, hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi. We finally got Skype working. We're so happy to have you. Welcome, Tamsin.
I was like, are you going to introduce her by name?
Yeah, it's Tamsen McDonough. It is the voice of Lucy, the body of Lucy also.
That's right.
That is now a fact. This episode we got to see when Lucy and Johnny first met.
I know. Except he was a thief.
I mean, yeah.
A lovable thief, though.
A lovable thief with guy liner and a mini kind of poof.
I was going to say the guy liner is kind of what made you let him steal the ship, right? No, I mean, I know.
Yeah. And I think he was talking about really tight pants or something. I didn't notice at the time, but, you know, maybe Lucy did.
I definitely noticed.
Definitely noticed that, did you? Okay, well, there you go.
I was like, wow. Young Johnny wore tight, skinny jeans.
It's definitely a rebel.
I mean, look, if Lucy was going to fall for him, we had to see why.
Exactly. Well, it's too bad because they've just had so much stuff to cover in that episode. The scene, as far as I can remember, was quite a bit longer. And so there was a lot of bantering and poking back and forth, but it had to get cut down because there was so much other good stuff to go through. So it's too bad, but it still gave us a flavor of what the initial meeting was. So.
Do you ever worry when you open the script that the curse of Jacoby may transfer to you?
See, you guys all wonder. You think it's the curse of Jacoby. Maybe it's Lucy doing something.
Ooh.
I'm just saying.
That is a Lifetime movie right there.
My ship killed my girlfriends.
Every woman he's with, other than Lucy, seems to. I'm just positing some ideas. You know, you never know.
So what's a spin-off? So obviously, we see like in universe there was this like connection between the two of them right from the top. The banter was great. Was there this thought like really early on in the show? I can't remember if we talked about this when we had you on last season.
We talked about how the voice wasn't originally supposed to be personality-wise wasn't supposed to be so flirtatious.
Yeah. But can you not?
So there was just Tamsin has a crush on Aaron Ashmore, and you know, it just got written in.
You know, I mean, you get that adorable face. You know, how many, you know, giant screen size when I was doing the initial, and we just started poking around. There was Michelle was there and a bunch of other awesome chicks, and we just started sort of poking around with it, and everybody just kind of liked the direction that it was going, and so she became less motherly. Definitely.
When they have like cast parties and rap parties, do they force you to just Skype in as a voice in the room, or are you allowed to actually be there in
No,
person?
I wear a full cloak,
Okay.
like an invisibility kind of cloak, and then I just walk around and talk, and that
Got
makes
it.
everyone much more comfortable. Yeah.
I feel like this season Lucy's voice has become much more Tamsin and a lot like less
Ship.
Ship.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
Interesting.
I personally love it.
Wonder if they put slight less of a filter on it then.
Do you think there's something to her when she got her body and had that moment with Johnny that maybe there's a little more human in the personality now that she's back in a full ship
Well,
form?
she's had a smooch. She got to cop a quick feel, and you know she's liking the whole human experience. So maybe she's working with her programming a little bit to be even more AI,
And
or
look,
less AI, more human.
and look, we don't know what Johnny got up to for that like 2 episodes that he had a finger banger.
It's true, but I had a finger. Was that Zach who mentioned that I had the original finger banger?
I think
Yeah.
Steven was the one that
Yeah.
caught it.
Lucy had the original finger banger in her what are they called?
The
The fembots. Her fembot form. The machine
Totally.
gun jubilees and the finger banger.
Finger blower upper almost, because mine shot sparks.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
was fireworks. Do you think they'll combine Lucy with the green?
I have no idea.
Wait, if Johnny got in a tub of the green and wished hard enough,
I don't think that's how. I don't think it was a wish.
Okay, all right. There's some ideas. You guys are very good at positing a lot of
Weird.
alternate ideas.
Creepy.
Well, I feel like this
Your
episode is
word.
good for at least like really confused children when they ask how babies are made. You just show them the Aniela storyline in this episode.
There you go.
It just
Storms, ha, green goo.
it would have been fine if like you just see the kid coming out of the green tub, but like you hear a and you like hear woof, and you're like,
I think you heard noises that others may not have
okay,
heard.
because
I didn't hear those noises.
okay, maybe I'm just like imagining like, wait a second, did she just like give birth in this
No.
tub? No, I know.
I know what you're talking about, though. I don't know what it was. There
was
was
a
a
motion.
sound effect. It was something. It was slight. It was very muted, but there was a pop of
Coming
some
into
kind.
creation sound effect.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know that sound of something coming into creation?
Totally.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like-
I mean, you hear it all the time, right? It's
Yeah, it
pretty
happened.
common
Big
sound.
bang, it happened.
Sure.
I don't know what the sound was. It sounds way weirder when you describe it that way. I just mean there was like an effect on the moment.
But that's how babies are made.
Right. Yeah.
Those are the things we do on this show is
Anyway.
teach people that. Tamsin.
Terrifying when she kept stabbing herself in the
Oh.
back of the head.
Yeah, that was commitment right there.
Tamsin, when you read the script, were you surprised as to the Dutch Aniela birth of Dutch story?
Yeah, that I was very surprised at. I always had a feeling that Klein was the data, pseudo data, because how did he actually make that baby? But yeah, Aniela being the mom, that threw me, and I'm just trying to figure out. They don't just look similar; they're they're the same person, so they look identical. So was she a clone?
So from what I understand,
And Aniela doesn't age.
yeah, the way that it looked like, and from all I read a bunch of interviews because I was very confused. Aniela went into her memories through the plasma, and
Yeah.
took her younger self through the plasma and brought her back with her.
So here's my interpretation of it. Can I throw it out there?
Okay.
Go.
So at every point in your life, you're at a crossroads, and you can go one way or you can go another way. And what we're dealing with in this episode is that Aniela changed she had a huge change when they went to Arkin and they killed all the Skarbeks. That was her main change. And her memories were always spent. The green is just full of all of her memories that she uploaded into it. So she was spending all of her time watching this innocent version of herself and wanting to have that again. So that was before she was introduced to the green. So when she's pulling out from her memories, the green already has her DNA. It already has the building blocks of who she is. And then it already has every single memory that Aniela had up until that point on the beach where the little girl is. So it's not too far-fetched to say, okay, if all we are as a human species is memories and biological material, the green had everything to build a little girl at that point in her life. So the reason Dutch ages is because at that point in her life, her DNA, everything that she wasn't associated with the green. She wasn't immortal at that time. She was a human little girl. So it's not building a clone of Aniela at that moment. It's building a clone of Aniela at that age from that time. So it builds a perfect clone. She's got all the same memories, but nothing forward. It's basically another chance for Aniela.
Or she got wished into existence.
But
she got wished into existence. Zach, obviously.
But
It's really hard.
she didn't have the memories. The child that was born didn't recognize Klein. The child didn't know what a moon was. It doesn't have the memories.
So maybe she didn't want it to have the memories.
I think that she pulled it from her memories and that erased the memories.
Possibly.
All right.
Because the memories are still in the green.
Yeah.
Well, I think the idea is she like pulled Dutch out of her memories, but the memories are still there. She just like.
So the question is, how can something be created from the green and not be
Green.
green?
It's not easy being green.
It's not.
Nobody else is green.
And Ken from Chicago in the chat says, wait, the green needed male DNA to complete Aniela's mini-me. It didn't, though.
It didn't.
It didn't. The reason when he asks, like, oh, you need it, because Klein thinks that he grew another one, and grew a child, like thinks that she made a child, like pregnancy child.
Right, which I think is my favorite moment
When she's like, you're the father.
Because I went, he's the father and the grandfather. All of a sudden I was like, this is an SVU episode, and it is amazing.
Get me Marushka Haragay!
I loved that, and it was so nice to see my beloved Silver Fox.
So they're not sisters, they are the same person.
They're clones.
They're the same. No,
They're not clones.
They're not clones.
They're not clones. They are the same person with...
Just at different points in their
A
life.
different
Yeah.
trajectory in life.
Yeah.
It's like if I just pulled out of thin air 12-year-old me. Like...
Exactly.
I
Does
say
that
clone
mean that
because
Klein is Aniela's father?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. And then that's his granddaughter as well.
No, it's his daughter. They're the same person.
It's the same
Really?
person.
sort of
Daughter.
the nomenclature that we have doesn't quite apply to this situation. Clone is, I think, accurate, if not perfect analogy, because it's not like they splice DNA to create her, but Dutch is a biological replica of Aniela. However she was made.
I don't
that's
think
what-
she's like a replica. I think she is her. She is her. She took her from, it's as though we had a TARDIS and we went back in time and we took baby Aniela and brought her back and brought her up through the goo.
Well,
Fair
it's
enough.
not like that because you'd be removing her from the timeline in that.
But
aspect.
I understand.
But, yeah.
Look, it's a weird thing that exists only in this show,
So-
but these are both reasonable analogies.
Here's the great question. Jacob Albers in the chat says, but what about the brainstem in the remnant? The brainstem in the remnant contains all the memories of Dutch within Aniela's mind. So the fact that Aniela created her, he removed that from her mind because the Hullen need the humanity to reproduce. And if they can eliminate the need for humanity, which I think is what Nugget has figured out through what Aniela discovered again, because if she's discovered it once, she can discover it again, then they're not going to need humanity anymore. They can kill everything and take over the world, which is what they're doing with Dulcea right now. They're trying to grow
A Hullen baby.
a Hullen baby that they've produced. So
Right.
I think what's interesting is that in both situations, you have a loved one close to Aniela when she discovers this. So what was her need this time where she made the discovery? That's my question.
Which discovery?
Well, because before it was, okay, she found out that she can grow things from the green. She can create life from the green, but when she was super, super lonely and being, I'm so lonely here in this bathtub. But now it was more that she got Dulcea, and something just set her off, and she realized that she could create it.
She wanted to pull a second Dulcea out of the green, and I will let you figure out the rest.
No, because Dulcea wasn't taken before she made the discovery.
No. I don't think that it was Dulcea that caused her to make the discovery. It was the fact that they brought back Davin's DNA.
Got it. Yeah, you're right. Okay, there you go.
Because Dav is somehow unique in his relation to the green. We don't know how or why.
Yeah, very curious.
I would really like to see some goose spilt in Lucy.
Can
That sounded
Yeah, what would happen?
What?
Can I just
I meant some of the
explain
plasma,
yourself?
because I feel like
for circuitry and
it could bring
Oh.
Lucy to life.
Well, I mean, Dutch tried to get some goose spilled in there, but Davin pushed her away the other episode. But
Oh my god.
really quickly, do you guys see a correlation here, though? You have Aniela, who creates things from her memories, and then you have Davin, who is the same as her, right?
Okay.
And Davin has problems with his memories.
Ooh.
So you think Dav is also a green clone baby?
I
thing?
don't know. I'm throwing that out there and seeing what you guys kind of think and perceive. Because, like, in my mind, like, his memories are all screwed up, so he can't really go back into his, or has he already?
I guess that we haven't seen them try to put the green into Dutch directly the way they did with Dav.
I just see Davin having the ability. I think we see Johnny die or something, and Davin finds a pool and creates a new Johnny or something like that.
Oh god.
Like, I don't know. I think it opens the door for them to kill off a major character and be able to bring him back.
Such as Klein?
I mean, I would love for them to bring Klein back. Maybe he's inside Dulcea. That would be nice, but
Yeah.
phrasing.
she gives birth to Klein.
Is that possible? Could that happen?
How would Dulcea doesn't have enough memory of Klein to will him.
Yeah,
to the
but
world.
she's pregnant.
Yeah, she's not just willing things into
Oh,
existence.
you think that's like this is Aniela's new method to get Klein back?
Because she just discovered her father's dead. No? Anybody?
Oh,
Just
man.
me?
I don't know.
I mean, it's a rough thing for Dutch to come into. Like, that's the thing, like, that moment, like, and I totally believed it on her face. Like, when she discovered not just that, like, Klein is her actual father via all this, but also that moment, like, because that moment also means, like, oh, I know who my dad is. Wait, now I'm mourning him all over again from a new perspective.
Right.
All of that hitting her at once.
Well, because he was going to kill her. She's experiencing the moment where Klein's going to kill her and then decides not to.
And raise her.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, that's a big deal.
I want to take it back to Lucy for a second.
In the Sky with Diamonds?
Lucy
No, the
She's
one in outer space.
in outer space on Skype. And Tamsin, you said that there was a longer scene where we first meet Johnny and Lucy, or where they first meet each other. Is there maybe a favorite line? Because Lucy says such great, like, quality zingers. Do you have a favorite line that you remember?
I can't remember out of the, because this was a couple months ago now, or a month or two. Yeah. I can't remember.
All right, I guess it wasn't that
That
good.
was anticlimactic.
Anticlimactic.
Oh. When did you finish recording for this season?
I actually just finished episode 10 last week.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah. So they'll sometimes have breaks of a few weeks in between. It just depends on when they get it edited or mostly edited. And then I come in at the end, because sometimes they can use my lines to attach things up a little bit more. So they'll create more lines. Yeah. So
Oh, so
it's
really recent.
we're already, most of the way through the season, and or partway through the season, and we're still recording. Still editing.
When do you start recording for season 4?
I don't know. Yeah, I wonder when we're going to hear one way or the other.
Hashtag renew Killjoys.
Seriously, God.
That's right.
When we had Aaron here, I gave out a Twitter of someone that we should all be harassing on Twitter.
Oh.
You're going to do it again.
I'm going to do it again. His name is Chris McCumber.
Okay.
At McCumber, MCCUMBERC. And he is the president of Entertainment Networks of USA and Sci-Fi. And you should tweet at him uncontrollably to hashtag Renew Killjoys. Just bombard him.
Bombardment.
Yes.
Bombardment. It does make a difference. Just sort of hearing some of the numbers and hearing some of the stats for, what they take into account. And they really do look at Twitter and they do see what else is going on out there, not just, the number of viewing at the time, because they know that, they're going to get their views elsewhere, some, through DVD or, hopefully through Netflix or, through Crave or whatever it is, that they're going to get higher numbers. And so Twitter is often a good gauge of what's going on for them. So definitely tweet.
Yeah, and
Definitely.
harass that guy.
Don't be a Jelko. Tweet.
Yeah.
Don't go.
Hashtag it along with don't be a Jelko. Hashtag renew Killjoys.
If they can give freaking The Strain the number of seasons that it's gotten,
Whoa.
they can give a good show multiple more.
Whoa. Shots
Take it
fired.
you're not a big fan of The Strain.
You only
I
cover
do
it
the
at this
after show.
network.
Be sure to check out the Strain After Show.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Strain is good. I lost the channel, but it was good. First of all, it was fun. Scary.
While we're still talking about Lucy,
Yes.
which is my way of turning it back around.
Yep.
I have a question. Tamsin, how can I get your beautiful voice as either Lucy and or Tamsin to be the voice of my phone and or car?
Don't know. I like that question though.
Because I want my car to start sassing me more.
Start sassing you more. Is he or she being a little too
Polite.
quiet and gentle?
Yeah. I need more
Not
sass for
picking
my
on your
vehicles.
driving or.
Here's how you get to work, thief.
Why don't you move a little slower? Like, that's the kind of stuff
Yeah.
I need from...
Sorry, I don't take orders from people not wearing guy liner.
There, exactly.
So
Or named me.
so the answer is guy liner.
And then whenever you have a girl in the car with you, the car is
Little
just
bit of
like not having
faux
it.
Oh, yeah, the little, the poof.
Yeah.
Okay. Yael, you and I
Yeah.
will have a conversation after this. I don't know where to buy eyeliner.
Oh, that's fine. I was like, what are we
Don't know
discussing?
where to buy eyeliner. I'm pretty sure it's not a different type of liner than the women's liner. So anywhere that women buy liner,
We'll find you some
doesn't
liner.
actually say guy liner on it. Probably
be
says
awesome.
both.
Be a
Yeah.
good brand, though.
Trademark
I bet
pending.
you could sell
Yeah.
that.
Killjoy's brand guy liner. I love it. Any final questions?
Do you have a favorite moment like that you've had as Lucy so far on either this season or the show?
Well, obviously, I'm partial to when she came alive.
Yep.
And she's bouncing around and having fun. I think also a big one for me was just that really great scene of him leaving and her not wanting him to leave and then forgiving him, and it's a great scene.
Yeah,
that was fun.
That was a fun
I
one.
could do a little bit more drama with her. There's so many great little zingers here and there that sometimes you almost forget about them because they're not huge scenes. That's the thing with Lucy, is that they're kind of it's banter, so you get a few here and there, but you're not going to get a 3-5 minute scene with Lucy. So like even just when he asked her to do something, she said no, and he said, "What do you mean?" She said something like, "Do you not understand monosyllabic words? I can grunt if you'd like." Just sort of these little. I can't exactly remember the phrase, but just these
so
great
good.
little zingers that kind of sometimes even go under the radar a little bit, just because they kind of just slide them in. They don't make a big deal about them, which I really like. It's fun.
What does Lucy think of Zeph? Because she tampered with you a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not keen on that, but I do know that it was, it was for the greater good, So she's willing to kind of forgive a little bit, but she's not going to forget. She also likes that Johnny has somebody to, you know, goof around with, but she doesn't like that Zeph is challenging him. So it's, you know,
Next to die.
it's back and forth. She could do worse, is I'm sure what Lucy's thinking, though.
Yeah.
Sarah Brock wants to know, why aren't we getting 5-minute cutscenes with Lucy?
I agree.
And while structurally I understand why that doesn't happen on the show, I posit, why can't we get a web series called Juicy that's just Johnny and Lucy off on adventures?
Budget.
I think that sounds very fun. And
Budget,
we all over that.
I absolutely love that idea.
It's called Juicy.
At Lovretta.
Yeah, we're gonna tell Michelle. Awesome. Thank you.
The McCumber.
Yes.
What was his name again?
Chris McCumber, MCC something. Hold on, I'll pull it up. McCumber. At MCCUMBERC. Chris McCumber.
Spinoff Gold. Hashtag Spinoff Gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to harass the F out of him. Tamsin, thank you so much for joining us. We love having you on the
Thanks
show.
for having me. It was so nice to hang out with you guys again. This is great.
This is fun.
And if people want to follow you on Twitter and Instagram.
It's at Red Tamsin.
Yay!
Yay! I need to post more on Instagram because I forget. So,
But you are all over
I'm
your
on
Twitter.
Twitter a lot more than Instagram.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining
Cool.
us.
Thanks, guys.
See you next
Much-
time.
See you soon.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
Jacob Albers says, Seth, report to the airlock. Without your suit, please.
I love it. I want to quickly touch before we lose the and go straight into all the other stuff. I want to talk a little bit about Fancy's storyline, and I had, first of all, seeing Fancy
Fight.
in an undershirt, a sleeveless undershirt, made me realize we've gone 3 seasons and haven't seen him shirtless,
my
and I'm
God.
so upset. That's one thing. But the other thing was that I had a little chat with Sean Beck, who plays Fancy, and he was talking about how relatable this story
Situation.
is. Yeah.
To
This-
World War II,
Yep.
and just, yeah.
But he was saying about how he still feels it today, this idea of being treated as different as the other. And it was a very interesting conversation. I wrote a little bit about it on Yael TV, and I will tweet out that link again later. But it was just so amazing to hear him talk about how this, although it's sci-fi, you know, we're talking about people being pulled out of plasma, but it also, as sci-fi does, is so relevant.
Yeah, I mean that's why I like the Fancy story, and I like this plot line about the cleansed, because these are a people who were, as Fancy put it, these were, or I think Dav put it, they're victims in this scenario. They're not the bad guys,
Right.
Like, even though they like now have the faces that for whatever reason you associate with the bad guys, they are not the enemy. They are on your side, fighting for you for the same causes, and we need to be working with them, not against them. And that couldn't be a more real thing right now.
Absolutely. And we have the whole story with the Farron, who were like, we're here because Dutch asked us to be here, and our deal is with her. But in the end, Davin like proves himself as the leader. I very much love when they arrest Turin, and the Farron stand with
You have my axe.
yeah, the Scarbacks, the cleanse, everyone's behind him. So I really appreciate that, and I think Davin he has military experience. He's a leader. Dutch is an assassin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It
Kind of
made
different.
sense. It made sense to get us there.
Well, I mean, you see this even last episode with the salute at the funeral, where Dutch can't handle her emotions,
Right.
and she leaves it to him to do the final salute.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's kind of been a passing of the torch for the past few episodes.
Right, and it's in addition to all the things that she's going through, it's also that this isn't really her forte. I have a lot of notes about how great Fancy looked.
Let's move past those.
Yeah,
So,
I'm going.
4 pages down.
Okay. Zeph and Johnny. I loved this little interaction with a mini Zeph. I like mini Zeph. Yeah,
Like mini Zeph
Cortana
better
Zeph?
than regular Zeph.
oh yeah, mini Zeph 100 times better than regular Zeph.
I you know what? I have to say this was a smart plan on Zeph's part. Because it wasn't even like I'm gonna lock you out or something, which Johnny might have like even been able to find a way around potentially faster.
Yeah.
But like she made it's like you can like I trust that like if you need to find us, you like we might need help and you will be the one that we need the help from. But we need some time. So here's the way I'm going to buy us time.
Well, he says to her, you disobeyed her just enough to keep her safe. And that's the Jacoby special. I want to make that's not what the Jacoby special is. The Jacoby special is when you murder someone with your love.
You loved them too hard, Johnny. And now they're dead.
Hey, but he can wish Potter back into existence, or at least I'm hoping they will.
Okay, so
you guys are missing out the plasma.
Here's another thing that I have about the plasma.
Yes.
Since we brought it up. So we know that her bathing in the plasma now is like her bathing in memories, and it's how she.
Sorry, that's just a thought. It's a weird thought.
And it's how she brought her child, more or less, into this world. We see her bathing in the green a lot this season. Do you think she's trying to actively replicate the experiment every time that we see her doing it?
No, because she doesn't remember it.
Yeah.
But like, then what is drawing her to be like bathing?
She's
in it?
lonely. That's
Yeah,
how
she's
she started.
She's connecting with her past self.
Yeah.
So like she's still doing that, and that's the thing is because she's connected to the green, they've been using that. We saw it last time. She connected to her past self, and we found out that it's Klein. And the lady, we learned there's a lady, and we don't know who that is. The original Hullen maestro is the lady, controlling her memories and pretending to be Klein inside of it to tell her.
I think
That's
when
right,
you
that's
say the lady, you mean that when he asked if the plasma talks to her, and she said she talks to me.
Yes.
So I don't know that necessarily translates to there is a lady. And when they were leaving their home in Kresh, they left without her mom. Do you think that might be that her mother is whoever's talking to her through the plasma?
I don't think her mother's who she's talking to, because like even the first scene in this episode with Klein is him telling her,
"We're leaving without your mom."
No, that's the second scene. The first scene is when he has the drill and he's like, "We have to do this because if you connect to the green, the lady will know everything, and we can't let her know."
I think so. Sorry, I took that to mean Dutch.
No, because it's the green, because they'll have all their memories. So like Dutch isn't connecting with the green because Dutch isn't Holland. So there is a greater, again, look back to what Nugget said a few episodes back. It's like, do you think it ends and stops with Aniela? There is a greater hive mind behind the Holland.
Okay.
And they're basically creating this utopia for Aniela to rediscover what she found out.
Interesting. The other thing that she says when Klein says, "Do you hear it talk to you?" and she says not to trust you anymore. So before, when she's locked in her Klein prison, she understands that she's not supposed to trust Klein anymore. Yet she can escape from her prison somehow, and that was never explained.
But she's her own self. So like the lady's telling her not to trust Klein, but she still kind of does.
Right, but I mean, how did she get out of Klein's box? You know, the silver.
The girl helped her.
No, before that, how did the peach get there?
I think people can come in, but they can't, like, Aniela can't.
So you're saying who was visiting?
So either he asks who's visiting. I assumed that he was wrong and that she could get out because when she brings him baby Dutch, she got out somehow.
I don't know.
I think that we were jumping around in the timeline.
Okay.
I think that baby Dutch was around, and that's how the peach got there.
Ah, I see.
So she was keeping Dutch a secret from Klein, And
But she wanted him to discover her.
Unless
Yeah.
she wished a peach into existence too.
that's a thing
Maybe.
too. But I think that's the connection when we see Dutch later, and there's a peach next to her. I think that's the connection, is that Dutch
Okay.
was the one with the peach.
I will absolutely take it. I think that this episode gave us a great big answer and then went, also, we're not going to explain how to make sense of it. You're welcome.
Well, I think the easiest way to understand the show is if you get a bathtub and you take a long, sharp object
To the back of your neck.
to the back of your neck over and over again
Views
over the
expressed
course
here,
of
those
years,
are the hosts only, and do not necessarily.
and you fill the bathtub with your green goo that is your blood.
Great.
Don't do this. Don't do this, kids.
Only do this if you bleed green goo.
Don't try to find out
Yeah,
if you
don't
bleed
find
green
out.
goo.
You would know already.
We do not endorse anything that this man is saying.
Yeah.
This is like literally how you have children. So you prepare for years.
On that note, I want to talk about puppies and how sometimes
Garrett,
you need
man.
hardcore cuddles and to knit them sweaters.
You know, I'm really starting to see what Pre likes in you,
Oh,
man.
absolutely. I think that was the greatest, like, one line. And I like him so much more now. And I already liked him, and he was perfect for Pre.
Oh man.
They're
But we
so
didn't
cute.
see Pre this episode.
Yeah, it's really weird that we keep showing up in Pre's bar and he's not there.
I mean, that's what you hire employees for.
I just hope that the next episode there's
He's
a
up
puppy.
in the. Pre's
puppy?
up in the
With the sexers?
the sexers, like having fun as he
As
has,
his boyfriend runs the bar?
They're not committed.
I'm not saying anyway. All right, this episode has been crazy, but we're leading up to this
Yeah,
is
it got real
episode
weird.
7, and we're leading up to the end. It's only 10 episodes, so we have still so much to talk about. Should we head into predictions, or have we been predicting the whole time?
AfterBuzz
I mean, we
TV
have
prediction.
-1 minute, so I'd say let's just wrap it up.
Okay, so next week there's Team Awesome Force goes on a heist. I think it was Jelko, it looked like, and Aniela goes head to head with Nugget.
Dude, I would love to see Jelko again so that we can like mess him up some more.
And I guess everyone was right that freaking Nugget's not dead.
Told you.
I hate you guys.
I'm glad.
There's
Cool.
one in the chat saying I'm wrong because they said they referenced the lady, the Black Nine, whatever it was called.
Oh.
What are the
Black Root.
Black Root mentioned the lady in seasons 1 or 2, whatever.
Sorry, we haven't dealt with a Black Root in a
And
little
people,
while.
we always assumed that the lady they were referring to was Aniela. So people in the chat are wondering if they were referring to Aniela back then, or if
They were referring to somebody higher up.
yes.
There's clearly another level, level 7 or whatever that we haven't gotten to yet.
I like how Ivan Soto is the only one in the chat who's so self-assured of their opinion as I am. We have a
on
lot
that
in
note,
common, Ivan.
Steven, where can people keep up with you?
You
to
can
hear
find me
your
on
self-assured
Twitter at
thoughts?
Steven Lemieux, STPHNLEMIEUX, and doing the strain tonight.
Yay! Zach Wilson.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @ZachWilson, where I will be trying to wish things into existence. But yeah, that's Zach Wilson across all platforms.
I'm Yael Tygiel. I'm everywhere at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYG. IEL, and we'll see you next week for more Killjoys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The Guyliner is all.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.